In a few weeks' time, either Sunak or Truss will be the new Prime Minister. The question is, what impact will that have on the economy? But more importantly to us, what will that mean for the housing market? If you're watching my videos for the first time, my name is Saj Hussain, and on this channel I share with you my 15 plus years of property investing experience to ultimately help you get further faster in your own property investing business. The markets hate uncertainty, and right now we are going through a period of uncertainty because we don't quite know who's going to be in charge of the country and what their views are. In this video, I want to break down the views of each of the potential leaders and how they might impact us. Whatever your political views are, the fact is that in a few weeks' time we'll have a new Prime Minister. And that Prime Minister will have been voted in by around 150,000 people who are members of the Conservative Party. So firstly, let's look at Rishi Sunak's views. On taxes, he's promised the biggest tax cut in 30 years by reducing the basic rate of tax from 20% down to 16%. That will typically mean a person on an average salary would probably save around £700 or £800 a year. He's also vowed to scrap VAT on energy bills, which will probably save about £160 a year to the average person, but ultimately he's pledged to focus on getting inflation under control and only then cut taxes once that happens. On borrowing, Sunak has repeatedly said we have to first balance the books and we can't borrow our way out of inflation. On net zero, he's committed to Britain's target of reaching a carbon neutral status by 2050. To achieve this, he would oversee a massive expansion of offshore wind farms, but he'd maintain a ban of putting up any new turbines on land. He wants to make the UK energy self-sufficient by 2045. On Brexit, Sunak voted leave, and he said taking back control of lawmaking will give Britain a competitive economic edge. He's pledged to scrap or reform all remaining EU rules on the UK statute books by the next election and wants to overhaul Brussels red tape clogging up the city. On defence, he's vowed to stick to the NATO target of spending 2% of GDP on defence and has suggested he would exceed that, saying it's a floor, not a ceiling. On immigration, he would keep the Rwanda policy, saying it's absolutely critical that we have control over our borders. He has said a tough approach is needed to foil an illegal set of criminal gangs who are causing people to die in pursuit of coming here. He's also pledged 3 strikes and you're out rule to deport foreign criminals. On the NHS, he wants to introduce a £10 fine for missed GP and hospital appointments. The system will be temporary as the NHS tries to clear the COVID-19 backlog of more than 6 million patients waiting for planned care. And most importantly, on housing, he's pledged to speed up the building of cities on brownfield sites, as well as cracking down on land banking by the big developers. He suggested he wants to see government funding for affordable houses scaled back, with more incentives put in place for developers to build homes poorer people can afford to buy. He's also pledged to prevent encroachment on the Greenbelt. Let's now look at the views and pledges of Liz Truss. On taxes, she wants to give more control to number 10 over the economy. She has also announced £30 billion of tax cuts from day one. She wants to cancel the 6% rise in corporation tax and also reverse the national insurance increase that happened in April. She also wants to review inheritance tax as part of a wider review of the British tax system. On borrowing, she said she plans to pay for the tax cuts by putting the COVID debt on a longer term footing, akin to the nation's war debt from the 1940s. That would potentially involve refinancing the $311 billion borrowed during the pandemic so that it was paid back over a much more drawn out period. On net zero, she has said we need to reach net zero in a way that doesn't harm businesses or consumers. She's very supportive of using gas as a transition fuel and has suggested she would end the ban on fracking so we could go ahead in areas where there's local consent. On foreign workers, she's proposed allowing thousands more foreign workers to come into the UK each year to temporarily take up agricultural jobs like picking fruit. She wants a short-term expansion to what is known as the seasonal worker scheme. On defence, she described herself as a freedom fighter on Ukraine, telling Conservative Party members they would trust her to do all she can to ensure Vladimir Putin is defeated. She wants to increase spending on the military to 3% of GDP by the end of this decade, and she wants to review the plan to cut the size of the army down to 72,500. On immigration, she completely agrees with the Rwanda policy and says we need to have further reforms in the UK to make sure we can really stop illegal immigration. On housing, she's promised to rip up the Stalinist approach to housing targets and make it easier for developers to build on brownfield sites and where there are opportunity areas. She said the UK needs to build up more in cities. and have policies that have local consent. In conclusion, both are tax cutters, with Truss wanting to refinance the debt in order to really kick the can down the road and not have to deal with it right now, where Sunak wants to take control of inflation first before starting to cut taxes. In all fairness, I don't think either one of them is going to make a massive difference to the economy or the housing sector. They have not made any kind of positive commitments to housing or even anything massively negative. However, the Bank of England have increased their interest rates. They've increased them by 0.5%, which is the biggest jump for quite some time. They've also predicted a further slowdown in the economy and now expect inflation to be hitting 13%. This is certainly not good news for the economy. However, as property investors, it does present an opportunity, and that opportunity is that the market will change. And when the market changes, we need to change our strategies and techniques that we use to acquire property, because those opportunities that will present themselves, we will miss them if we're still looking for the old style deals. If you found this video interesting and useful, then do me a favor, click on my face over here to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, but then make sure you watch this video over here, which gives you 3 ways that you can benefit from the imminent downturn that's going to happen in the property market.